Hi everyone, how are you doing? Today channel Dan Sreyoun is going to present you about observation. What's observation? Observation is the action or process of closely observing or monitoring something or someone. It's a statement based on something one has seen, heard, or noticed. Hi everyone. Classroom observation. A classroom observation is a formal or informal observation of teaching while it is taking place in a classroom or other learning environment. Typically conducted by fellow teachers, administrators, or instructional specialists, classroom observations are often used to provide teachers with constructive critical feedback aimed at improving their classroom management and instructional techniques. School administrators also regularly observe teachers as an extension of formal job performance evaluations. Classroom observations may be called learning walks, teacher observations, walkthroughs, and many other things, and they may be conducted for shorter or longer periods of time, from a few minutes to a full class period or school day. Educators may also use a wide variety of classroom observation methods. Some may be nationally utilized models developed by educational experts, while others may be homegrown processes created by the educators using them. In many cases, observation notes are recorded using common templates or guidelines that describe what observers should be looking for or what the observed teacher would like feedback on. Increasingly, educators are conducting and recording classroom observations using digital and online technologies, such as smartphones, tablets, and subscription-based online systems, that can provide educators with observational functionality and data analytics that would not be possible if paper-based processes were used. While classroom observations are conducted for a wide variety of purposes, they are perhaps most commonly associated with job performance evaluations conducted by school administrators and with professional learning communities, groups of teachers who work together to improve their instructional skills. Classroom observations may be conducted by teachers in the same content area or grade level. In these cases, teachers share students or similar expertise. Or they may be conducted by teachers across academic disciplines. In this case, the goal may be to observe and learn from the varied instructional practices used in different types of classes. It should also be noted that many educators make a strict delineation between observations made for the purposes of helping a teacher improve, and those conducted for the purposes of job performance evaluation. Some educators may object to the use of walkthrough, or other terms associated with non-administrative observations, when referencing evaluative observations by school administrators. Hi everyone. Reform. Generally speaking, classroom observations could be considered a de facto Schulemprovement strategy, since they are typically intended to improve instructional quality and teaching effectiveness, whether they are conducted by fellow teachers or by administrators. Since teachers often work in relative isolation from their colleagues, e.g., they may create courses and lessons on their own, or teach behind the closed doors of a classroom without much feedback from colleagues. Teaching styles, educational philosophies, and academic expectations often vary widely from class to class, as does the effectiveness of lessons and instructional techniques. Classroom observations arose in response to these common trends, and they are often used as a form of professional development intended to foster greater collaboration and more sharing of expertise and insights among teachers in a school.
Hi everyone. Debate. Classroom observations may become the object of debate or criticism for a variety of reasons. For example, if classroom observations are used as part of a job evaluation process, school leaders, teachers, and teacher unions may have divergent ideas about how the observations should be conducted and what the evaluation criteria should be. In addition, while classroom observations have long been used in the job performance evaluations of teachers, some critics contend that the observations contribute relatively little to the improvement of teaching for several possible reasons. Principals may not use consistent, evidence-based evaluation criteria. Principals may not have been trained in proper observation strategies, or they may not have the teaching experience or expertise required to evaluate instructional techniques. Job performance observations are typically prescheduled, which means that teachers can prepare in advance and alter their methods, and that the quality of teaching on the observed day may not be representative of a teacher's normal practice. The feedback teachers receive may be superficial, inconsistent, or unhelpful in terms of improving instructional quality. Most teachers receive high job performance ratings from principals, even in poorly performing schools where there is evidence that low-quality teaching is occurring. Classroom observations may also challenge established institutional conventions and teaching practices, which can make the strategy an emotional topic in some schools. For example, Some teachers may not see any value in the process, they take issue with the specific criteria being used, they may not approve of certain people watching them teach, or they may be uncomfortable with the idea of being observed because they may feel threatened or insecure in such situations, to name just a few possible reasons. Hi everyone. What is teacher observation? Teacher observation describes the practice of sitting in on another teacher's class to observe, learn and reflect. Teacher observation is a formal or informal observation of teaching while it's taking place in a classroom or other learning environment. They're typically conducted by fellow teachers, administrators, or instructional specialists. They're often used to provide teachers with constructive critical feedback aimed at improving their classroom management and instructional techniques. Various aspects of the class can be examined, such as routines, use of time, schedule, participation, teaching strategies, management strategies, learner interest, and much more. A teacher will naturally look for support on an issue that is difficult for them, but it's often a great method of being exposed to a new and different approach to teaching. Observation is important at every stage of a teacher's career, from NQTs to teachers that have a wealth of experience under their belts. Teacher observations can also be called lesson observations, learning walks, classroom observations, walkthroughs, and many other things. They can be conducted for shorter or longer periods of time, anything from a few minutes to a full class period or school day. Educators can also use a wide variety of classroom observation methods. Some might be nationally utilized models developed by educational experts, while others could be homegrown processes created by the educators using them. In many cases, observation notes are recorded using common templates or guidelines that describe what observers should be looking for or what the observed teacher would like feedback on. While classroom observations are conducted for a wide variety of purposes, they're most commonly associated with job performance evaluations conducted by school administrators and with professional learning communities, groups of teachers who work together to improve their instructional skills. Teacher observations can be conducted by teachers in the same content area or grade level. In these cases, teachers share students or similar expertise. Or they could be conducted by teachers across academic disciplines, in which case, the goal may be to observe and learn from the varied instructional practices used in different types of classes. While it's often new or specialist teachers who go through classroom observation, everyone can benefit from the process if it's done correctly. Teaching observation can be a few minutes or a few days long. There's no set duration, and it all depends on the goal of each observation. Regardless of goals and duration, each classroom observation is meant to be done with professionalism, integrity and courtesy. It should have an agreed-upon protocol, and it should be done objectively and be confidential. There are two common types of classroom observations, as part of a formal job performance evaluation. This is often done annually by a school administrator, as part of an improvement drive, performed by a teacher's peer or peers, instructional specialist, or coach. This kind of classroom observation is often done to provide the teacher with relevant feedback based on their interactions with students and their execution of teaching methods. Many educators make a strict delineation between observations made for the purposes of helping a teacher improve, improvement drive, and those conducted for the purposes of job performance evaluation. Many educators make a strict delineation between observations made for the purposes of helping a teacher improve and those conducted for the purposes of job performance evaluation. Hi everyone. What do teachers look for during lesson observations? One of the main challenges for observation is knowing what to look for. We've put together a helpful checklist that you can work through to help get you started. During a lesson observation, the observer is looking for evidence of the following. Introduction. Is it well placed? Is the teacher organized? Are the children engaged right from the start? Are the children on task quickly? Resources. Are the resources easily accessible for the children and the teacher? Are the most suitable resources being used? Pitch of the lesson. Is there enough challenge for the more able children? Are the less able children getting the support they need? Is the content of the lesson appropriate for the year group and range of abilities? Classroom management. Are there opportunities for independent learning? Do the children have strategies for when they are stuck? Are there further learning opportunities available for children who have finished their work? Subject knowledge. Is new information, tasks explained clearly? Is the input interactive? Do the children understand what they have been doing? Behavior management. Are school procedures being followed, reinforced? Do children know the expectations of their behavior? What is the general ethos of the class? Awareness of needs. Does the teacher move the learning on when necessary? Are they aware of any progress being made? Is the teacher aware of struggling children? Plenary. Does the lesson have an effective conclusion? Does the plenary provide a summary of the lesson or lead into the next lesson? Can the children demonstrate their learning? There is also room for general comments that arise during the lesson. Hi everyone. What are the benefits of teacher observation? Allowing another teacher into your classroom allows for sharing between both of you. It also allows for self-reflection by everyone involved. Best practices involve the sharing of resources, techniques and strategies. Teachers are responsible for their own growth and development, and observation is an excellent alternative to the traditional professional development seminars. Benefits for the observer. Observe new techniques, strategies, ideas and resources. Gain insight into their own strategies and techniques. Observe student reactions from a different perspective. Help create a professional learning community with the best interests of the students in mind. Helps personal professional development and growth. Benefits for the observed. A chance to see the class through someone else's eyes. A chance to re-evaluate the classroom from a different perspective. Receive input, suggestions, ideas, resources from a colleague. Creation of a professional learning community with the best interests of the students in mind. Helps personal professional development and growth. Classroom observation can often help expose teachers to new methods of teaching that might not have occurred to them beforehand. It may be threatening to be subject to peer observation since teachers might feel territorial and defensive in their classroom and protective of their resources and ideas. However, when it's done in a considerate and respectful fashion, observation can be beneficial for both the observing teacher and the teacher being observed. Hi everyone. What should observation for NQTs and beginner teachers include? For NQTs teachers at the beginning of their career, there are some general issues that the teacher would need to observe and identify. The focus would be on general pedagogic knowledge, which includes issues such as classroom management, differentiation and instructional strategies. However, with training and experience, teachers would need to progress to focus on other issues, which can be categorized as pedagogic content knowledge (PCK). In this case, the teachers would focus on the overlap between pedagogic knowledge and content knowledge, and specifically with an interest in what takes place in a senior leadership (SL) classroom. For example, it would be difficult to imagine an SL classroom without pair work activities. In other classes and other subjects, one might observe group work activities. However, due to the linguistic content, there would be significant differences between the interactive exercises. In other subjects, group work or pair work might be optional, but in a language classroom they are absolutely necessary. Furthermore, beginner SL learners require much more structure in an activity than beginners in other courses, because the structure increases the likelihood of success. Hi everyone. Teacher observations and Ofsted. Ofsted also carries out teacher observations to ensure that children are receiving a quality education. They inspect the quality of education within a framework that puts the curriculum at the center of inspections. This outlook has three key elements: a top-level view of the quality of education developed during conversations between the lead inspector and the principal, a deep dive into a selection of subjects where the inspectors will collect evidence on quality from a range of sources, a meeting where the inspectors will bring all the evidence together. During what Ofsted call deep dives, inspectors will visit schools during lessons to do teacher observations and examine students' work. Inspectors will also examine the leadership and management of the school, collecting evidence from their visits. To help you out with deep dives, we've also published this handy article. Written by one of our experienced teachers, it lists potential questions that inspectors could ask and several resources that could help you out. By collecting evidence from lesson visits and examining students' work, Ofsted can try to reach a judgment that is fair and reliable from their observations. Hi everyone. How should I approach a teacher observation? Remember that doing observations can be a sensitive topic for most teachers. Allowing someone to observe your practice can be daunting for any teacher, regardless of their experience, as teachers give their heart and soul to the job and it's probably something they take great pride in. Here are 3 tips to keep in mind for anyone observing a colleague. Give positive feedback to the teacher. It's always rewarding to hear something positive about your own teaching. If you are asked for any constructive feedback, try to do so in a supportive manner. Always make sure you thank them for allowing you to observe them. You might also check out our other teaching wiki pages on the different types of observations for more helpful information and resources like this one. Hi everyone. What is observational learning? As humans, we start learning on our first day of existence. Most of this initial learning happens through observation. Observing friends, family members, and the surrounding environment. That's how we make sense of the world. In this article, we'll take an in-depth look at observational learning theory, the definition, 4 processes, examples, and importance. We'll also explore observational learning in the corporate workplace, and how you can use observational learning to improve your corporate training and development programs. What is observational learning? Observational learning is the process of learning by watching the behaviors of others. The targeted behavior is watched, memorized, and then mimicked. Also known as shaping and modeling, observational learning is most common in children as they imitate behaviors of adults. While at times, we intentionally observe experts to learn new information, observational learning isn't always intentional. Especially in young children, a child may learn to swear or smoke cigarettes by watching adults. They are continually learning through observation, whether the target behavior is desirable or not. Hi everyone. What is a model? A model is the person performing the task being imitated. In the example of a child learning to swear, the model is the parent that said the swear word. The child is using their parent as a model that they observe performing a behavior. What makes a good model? Humans don't just imitate anyone. Most often, we mimic people that are similar to us, are in high status positions, are experts or knowledgeable, or rewarded for their behaviors, provide us with nurturing parents or guardian figures. Hi everyone. 4 processes of observational learning. Canadian-American psychologist, Albert Bandura, was one of the first psychologists to recognize the phenomenon of observational learning. His theory, social learning theory, stresses the importance of observation and modeling of behaviors, attitudes and emotional reactions of others. He found that, as social animals, humans naturally gravitate toward observational learning. Children watch their family members and mimic their behaviors. Even infants, at just 3 weeks old, start imitating mouth movements and facial expressions of adults around them. According to Bandura's research, there are 4 processes that influence observational learning: attention, retention, reproduction, motivation. Let's take a look at each in more depth. 1. Attention. To learn, an observer must pay attention to something in the environment. They must notice the model and the behavior occurring. Attention levels can vary based on the characteristics of the model and environment, including the model's degree of likeness, or the observer's current mood. In humans, it is likely the observer will pay attention to behaviors of models that are high status, talented, intelligent, or similar to the observer in any way. For example, if you want to become a VP at your company, it makes sense that you'd observe the current VPs or other renowned VPs in your industry and try to mimic their behavior. 2. Retention. Simple attention is not enough to learn a new behavior. An observer must also retain, or remember, the behavior at a later time. To increase chances of retention, the observer must structure the information in an easy-to-remember format. Maybe they use a mnemonic device, or form a daily learning habit. The behavior must be easily remembered so the action can be performed with little or no effort. Using our VP example above, let's say the current VP is giving a company-wide presentation. You notice that they are calm, confident, engaging, and use eye contact. You make a list of these attributes and remember them for the next time you give a presentation. 3. Reproduction. The behavior is remembered, but can it be performed in real life? Reproduction is the process where the observer must be able to physically perform the behavior in the real world. Easier said than done. Often, producing a new behavior requires hours of practice to obtain the skills. You can't just watch your VP give a brilliant company-wide presentation, then use only the observed tactics in your own presentation 20 minutes later. Those skills take years to craft and perfect. Using our VP example again, you've observed and identified 4 skills that the current VP uses during presentations. To be able to perform these skills yourself, you need to deliberately practice these skills. Maybe you hold small team meetings to test your skills, or you ask team members for feedback on your presenting skills. In a few months, you will have sharpened your presenting skills and may be ready to produce a behavior similar to the current VP. 4. Motivation. All learning requires some degree of personal motivation. For observational learning, the observer must be motivated to produce the desired behavior. Sometimes this motivation is intrinsic to the observer. Other times, motivation can come in the form of external reinforcement, rewards and punishments. Using our VP example again, the motivation is intrinsic. You understand that the path to becoming a VP at your company requires a certain skill set. Hi everyone, what does the science say? Let's take a look at some of the scientific research around observational learning. 1. Bobo doll experiment. Bandura's classic Bobo doll experiment showed that children would mimic violent behaviors, simply by observing others. In the experiment, children were shown a video where a model would act aggressively toward an inflatable doll, hitting, punching, kicking, and verbally assaulting the doll. There were 3 different endings. The model was punished for their behavior, the model was rewarded for their behavior, there were no consequences. After watching the model, children were given a Bobo doll, identical to that in the video. Their behaviors were observed. Researchers found that children were more likely to mimic violent behaviors when they observed the model receiving a reward, or when no consequences occurred. On the flip side, children that observed the model being punished for violence showed less actual violence toward the doll. Here are a few real-world examples of observational learning. A child watches their mother eat dinner with a fork. They observe the behavior and quickly learn how to use a fork themselves. A high school basketball player watches Stephen Curry shoot free throws. They observe details such as the number of ball dribbles and hand follow-through patterns, then try to mimic the behavior themselves.
Thank you for watching my videos. Please subscribe, like and share to channel Dan Sreyoun in order to get more videos. Thank you.